It's a Libra full moon, and the message from the moon this week is, has the flower that we're blooming here on this full moon actually turned into an overgrown rose bush? All right, Venus is in the mix, so that means we need to examine the themes of love, pleasure, and the feminine, and Saturn in Pisces is in the mix, so that's where this overgrown rosebush comes from, meaning, is there more that needs to fall away? Is there more that needs to go? That's our full moon message. I'm Laura Custo. I'm the moon phase astrologer, and this is Light the Way. Each week, I give you the message from the moon and show you how to use the moon's light to plan your life and achieve your goals. If you haven't yet, drop down and hit that subscribe button so you never miss your weekly message from the moon. This is the week of Friday, April 11th through the 18th, 2025. We start Friday out in the energy of the full moon, which is happening on Saturday, April 12th at 6:21 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Now, this is a full moon in Libra. The dates that you want to look at for this full moon are the new moon that last occurred in Libra near this degree. It's right around 23 degrees of Libra. The last time that happened was about 18 months ago on October 14th, 2023. So look back to then. Did you keep a journal? Did you write down intentions? What did you write down? Also, examine your self-talk. I've talked about this all the time, but what was your mood back then? If you're writing intentions now as you're starting to work with the moon, start to be honest and really write down, these days I'm feeling this way, okay? Because then when you move on to the first quarter, and by the way, for this full moon, your first quarter date is July 13th, 2024, and you want to look at what action you took. But if you realize that on that new moon, your self-talk and your mood wasn't great, the action you can take is to set your course in a better direction, right? Maybe you planted a flower that's now become a weed. You can pull it out, try to redirect the course, okay? Those are the two dates that you want to look at that are applicable to this full moon happening April 12th, 2025. What's blooming? And again, as I look at these planetary energies, I think that we could have created something that has gotten a little out of control. I do want to chime in and say that if you want to know what area of life this is activating for you, because Libra rules an area of life in everybody's chart and it's different from person to person, go on over to my website and check out Moon Chat. The moon moves in very precise ways and it hits our charts at very precise degrees over a certain period of time in these moon phases. I studied it for over 2 years. I built an entire system to keep track of it all, and it's called Moon Chat. Not only does it tell you what area of life is being active and supported, but it breaks down the dates that you need to look at, and it tells you what you need to do on each of these moon phases. I'll link that down in the show notes. All right, so at the same time of this full moon, Venus is turning direct. And here's where I bring in the themes of love, pleasure, perhaps your relationship to the feminine, and also what you value. Those are all Venusian themes. Venus has been retrograde for a while, and it's been going back over a place in the sky that's already covered. So you covered some ground with Venus, and then you've been backtracking it, and you've been reviewing these themes in your life. Well, now it's turning direct precisely on the day of this full moon. So it could be revealing, again, in alignment with the full moon, the truth shining its light on everything for you, could be revealing the truth around some of these themes. And now it's time for you to look at them. And also, the very next day, Saturn meets up with the North Node. Saturn is the planet of responsibility and authority and kind of like earning our keep and doing the work to earn our rewards. But when it's in Pisces, the work that it's doing is clearing and dissolving. It's really getting rid of the things that no longer serve us, especially when we meet up with the North Node, which is all about coming into alignment with our highest good, right? And you can't come into alignment with your highest good if you've got what is no longer serving you, still dragging you down, okay? So these two planets making these significant shifts, right? Venus moving direct, Saturn conjoining the North Node. That's where I really got, okay, we're blooming at the full moon, but Saturn is calling to us to perhaps see some truth around what needs to dissolve and fall away. And then Venus is showing us that the truth may have something to do with love, relationships, pleasure, and our values. So, what I would say, the full moon, it's all about observing. I talk about this a lot. We're not being called to do anything at a full moon other than show up, participate, stay present, observe. You're going to react to things, you're going to have things happen, but it's not a time to make big decisions, okay? But allow Saturn to do that's work. And what I mean by that is if something is naturally falling apart in your life that perhaps before you used to fight for, really check in with yourself and say, do I still want this? Is this really in alignment with my highest good? And what I would say is if it is naturally sort of falling apart on its own, now is the time to let it. Okay? Because Saturn is going to be moving into Aries here in another month or so. It happens in May. And Neptune has already moved into Aries. Now, these two planets, Neptune and Saturn, are doing this dance where they're moving into Aries and then they're going to retrograde back into Pisces and then they're going to move back into Aries. This dance, it's tapping into that dreamy, flowy, low vibration Pisces energy is escapism. It's also no boundaries and it's also leaning on others and the collective. And high vibration is the dreaminess, the transcendentalism, the meditation, tapping into our intuition. Unfortunately, in Pisces, we could be prone to leaning into the collective more and not ourselves, not trusting ourselves. But that's where Aries comes in. And so these last moments where they come back into Pisces, it's like Neptune is calling on us to see this contrast between Neptune and Pisces and Neptune and Aries. Neptune and Aries is our connection to the divine, and we are empowered to have our own unique connections to the divine. It's like the work I do here with Moon Chat, right? I'm the messenger. I am not telling you how to use this. Moon Chat is very Neptune and Aries. It's all about empowering you to see the patterns in your life. The moon makes these patterns. I just built a technology that shows you the patterns and tells you the dates. It makes it easy for you. It's up to you how you see this story, how you're going to interpret it, and how you're going to use all of this guidance to live your life. So, what's happening here at this full moon is this joining up of Saturn with the highest good. And it's this dissolving energy, which is really where it's like, yes, if something's falling apart, let it go. Let it go. You've got to lighten your load so that when Saturn moves into Aries, and Saturn, it's kind of a workhorse. It's like, okay, we got to take care of this. We got to take care of this. And in Aries, it's going to have a lot of personal accountability. Okay. So you can't get the work done if you're carrying old baggage. And the other good news is that Monday the 14th and Tuesday the 15th, there's not a lot of planetary energies going on. So you've got up until Tuesday to really clearly work with this. Then we move into Wednesday the 16th. On Wednesday the 16th, what we have is Mercury is moving into Aries. It moves into Aries right after midnight here in Mountain Standard Time. Now, Mercury came out of retrograde last week, but it's still in what's called its shadow, meaning it's still going over points in the sky that it went over the first time. It will be in its shadow until about April 26th. And so, what this means is that we're still wrapping things up. And Mercury rules communications and analysis, but now it's in Aries instead of Pisces. Mercury's not super productive in Pisces. It's talking and communicating and analyzing, and it's just kind of run on things. Now it's back in Aries and it has a little more focus. So if you haven't seen a lot shift since Mercury turned direct last week, keep your eye on the 16th and moving forward, because you should really start to see your ability to communicate clearly and effectively really come forth. Later in the day on the 16th, Mercury also joins up with Neptune. And Mercury has had a couple of Neptune conjunctions in the last couple of months. They happened in Pisces. This one's happening in Aries. And by the way, the last Mercury-Neptune conjunction happened on that new moon eclipse that we had a couple weeks ago on March 29th. So there may be a clue sitting there for you. We're still in that eclipse energy here on the full moon. The way I interpret this is that you've been thinking about things, you've been getting dreamy, you've been doing analysis, you've been going back over things, but now we're in Aries. And so this becomes more of an accountability play. It's you suddenly realizing your part in whatever is going on and taking responsibility for the situation and deciding, okay, here's what we're going to do. Mercury is communications analysis. So it's communicating a final decision, especially now that it is direct. And again, this may not happen on the 16th, but that's when that energy gets activated and you can work with it moving forward. Then we move on into Thursday, the 17th. On Thursday, the 17th, Mars moves into Leo. Mars had its retrograde starting in December of 2024, and it was in Leo. It retrograded back into Cancer, turned direct on February 23rd. And so on February 23rd, I talked about how we may start to see things move, but it was in Cancer, and it doesn't operate super well in Cancer. A great way to get Mars to work in Cancer is to focus on nurturing and to focus on protective instincts, protecting that which you need to nurture or that which you are responsible for. It's this powerful mother energy. And so that's a great way to work with Mars in Cancer. But now Mars moves into Leo, fire sign, very different energy. This is more bold, expressive, and passionate. Also, Leo is ruled by the sun, so it is the self, and it is this ability to claim the spotlight and claim whatever it is that you are trying to achieve and move it forward. All right. And so those are the energies at play as we work through this full moon. I mean, I really think that with Venus moving direct, Mercury entering Aries, that Saturn conjunction, and then we end it with Mars transferring its energy into Leo. It's just a lot of themes around stepping up with yourself, trusting yourself, and then it's all pointing towards soon taking some action that needs to be taken. Again, the full moon is about observing. So the message from the moon this week: look and see, overgrown rose bush or not. You may need to just let some things fall apart if that's what's happening, but check in with what's in alignment with your highest goods. Now I want to move into the portion of the show where I address a common question. The question, though, is how should I work with the full moon? A lot of people think that the full moon is a time to release. And it's certainly a time to notice what needs to be released. At the full moon, the moon is on the other side of the earth and the sun, meaning if you were to draw a straight line, you would have the sun, then the earth, and then the moon. And the moon is getting lit up by the sun, just like we are here on Earth. The thing is, the reason we can see the whole moon is because the side of the moon that's getting lit up by the sun is the side that we see. Okay, so we see all of it. And so that's the signal. The moon works very much in signals. So how to work with the full moon? Look at it. Look at what? Look at the moon? Well, yes, look at the moon. It's very pretty. But look at what? Look at the truth. Look at what I'm showing you. The moon's always talking to us, okay? So that's what we need to do at the full moon. We need to look at the truth, look at what's being revealed. We need to be present. We need to participate in life. But it's not a time to try to take action, try to start things, try to stop things, to go within and dream. It is a time to be out there, be out in our community, out with our families, with other people, but being present with life and seeing what is going on. Now, I just want to chime in here. If working with the moon phases confuses you, or you think that there's got to be all these fancy rituals, there doesn't. Okay. I created a moon phase guide and it is 100% for free. You can go over to my website, lauracusto.com, and grab it. It's called the free moon phase guide. And in it, I give you the 3 steps that I take every single moon phase to work with that moon phase. And of course, I cover the full moon. And the full moon, I mean, honestly, we overcomplicate it. We so overcomplicate it so much. But it's really just a time to ride the wave. Okay. It's a culmination point. And we often talk about working with the phases of the moon like working with a garden. We plant our seeds on the new moon by telling the moon what we want. So we tell it what we want, we write it down. First quarter, we are called to show the moon what we want. But at the full moon, it's using all of that information and it's showing you what you've co-created with it. So did you bloom a beautiful flower or did it turn out to be a weed? Is it something that's overgrown? Is it something that's just sort of sprouting? So, full moon. Again, very simple. Stay present, observe, ride the wave, let the full moon do its work on you and through you, have your realizations, and then give yourself the gift of the next 9 months to let it not be the focus of your life. And then you'll be reminded on that last quarter, oh, hey, remember this? And now that some time has passed, if it was something that sort of stung at the time, it's not going to feel that way. And you're going to have a much clearer head and be able to do the release work at that time. Okay. I hope that clears up the full moon. The full moon, beautiful time, but really you're not being called to do anything other than be present and observe and participate. Okay. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you so much for being here. If you've enjoyed this, please leave a review or drop a thumbs up depending on where you are listening to this. And if you think that someone else would benefit from this episode, please share it with them. All right, working with these messages from the moon has changed my life, and that's why I specialize in the moon phases. All right, have a great week. I'm sending you lots of good energy as you work with this week's moon phase in your life. Until next week, take care.